Welcome to Adventures in Producing. Today, my name is Wendy Mitchell. I'm a film journalist and film festival consultant, and I'm here talking to some of my favorite film producers. Today, I'm thrilled to welcome Katja Adomeit.
Hi, Wendy.
Katja.
Hey.
Hi. Katja is a German-born, Denmark-based producer. I met her when she was already living in Denmark. She has produced films including The Weight of Elephants, Loving Pia and Resin by Daniel Borgman, Pine Ridge and Lida and Transnistra by Anna Eborn, Team Hurricane by Annika Berg, Wolf and Sheep and the Orphanage by Shahrbanoo Sadat. She has also been a co-producer on Ruben Ostlund's Force Majeure and The Square. One of the reasons I love her, she has worked in Afghanistan, Tajikistan, Germany, Denmark, France, Russia, Ukraine, China, and New Zealand. She was one of our future leader producers at Screen International in, I think, about 2015, maybe?
Yeah, I think it was 2014.
Okay, 2014. And she was a producer on The Move in Cannes as well. So, Katja, I just think you're such a... Producing seems to really suit you. You seem to really enjoy the challenges, the sort of risks. Did you always think you might want to be a producer rather than a director or a writer or work in the business side?
No, I think like originally I actually wanted to become a director. But somehow this quickly turned into becoming a producer instead, because I actually have no joy in directing or directing actors or being on set or working with all the departments. I'm not good at it, and it bores me. So then I quickly figured out that I'm really good at producing. I can make things happening, and no matter how difficult or challenging things are, I can bring projects to life. Yeah.
Yeah, amazing.
Sometimes I actually still think about, should I stay being a producer or should I do something else? I don't know.
What would be the next choice?
That's the thing. I don't know.
I think that means you have to stay a producer because you're making stuff happen. And how did you actually break in? Because you went to the Super 16 film school in Denmark. You know, first of all, what made you go to Super 16? You know, they're great German film schools. Or, were you already in Denmark and then went?
No, I was living, actually, it was in 2005. I was living in Berlin, but I was feeling away sick. I don't know. Yeah, away sickness. And so I applied to production companies all over the world, like from the films that I liked. And sent out a lot of applications, but only one production company answered, and that was Zentropa.
Ah.
And Peter Olbæk Jensen, he invited me for an interview and said, hey, listen, learn Danish, then I give you a job. So I moved the week after to Denmark. And 3 months later, I started as his assistant.
That's just a remarkable story. So yeah, what was it like working at Zentropa then? I guess you had your eyes open to what production was really like.
Yeah, when I was working at his assistant, that's when I started producing zero budget films, and then the first short films. So the first short film came into Locarno, the second one at official competition Cannes, and the third one at Semaine de la Critique, and one actually Semaine de la Critique. So then it was clear, okay, I'm moving quickly to the first feature film. But I think before I even started The Weight of Elephants shooting, I opened up my own company in Denmark. And that was because I always felt like that I'm not as good if I have to report to someone else. Like it's fine if I'm a producer and there are co-producers, or I'm a co-producer and there are other co-producers, but if I'm like if there's someone in the hierarchy above me, and I can't make decisions on my own, then I'm actually not as good.
I've learned this about myself as well through various jobs and bosses and being the boss and then now being freelance. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was around sort of 2011, 2012, you started Adomeit Film?
Yeah, 2011, yeah.
Okay.
2011, yeah.
Yeah. And was that scary to set up your own company and put your name on the door? No.
I can't. I mean, I can't remember that I was scared. Probably I was, but I can't remember. I was just so eager to be independent and to make my own projects, own the rights to the projects. Yeah, have the fully responsibility for everything. That's what I was really looking forward to, basically.
Yeah. And the company has grown since then. You work across Germany and Denmark. Can you tell us a little bit about the setup, and you're working with some other people as well?
Yeah. Well, in 2017, I opened up the company in Berlin and in Lübeck, where I was born. And I did it originally because I couldn't finance Shahrbanoo Sadat's film through Denmark.
That was Wolf and Sheep or something earlier?
That was for the orphanage, basically.
Oh, for the orphanage.
So, so I thought, okay, maybe it's easier to finance it as a majority from Germany and then go minority to Denmark. But then we got I think the fourth rejection from the Danish Film Institute also for a minority, and then I swapped it around again and sent another application, and then we made it happen, majority Denmark. But that was the original idea why opening the German company. And now the third film by Shahrbanoo Sadat, we produce majority from the German company. I have then my mom and my dad who are over 70 and working in the company in Germany, or from the administrative side, because I felt like they don't have a job anymore. So it would be good for them to train them in film the film administrative side. And
I love that.
Why only training young people? Also the old people would be amazing to train. And in the Danish company, I have a producer called Jeppe Våg, who started August this year. He came from the Norwegian Film School, and I'm doing 50% of my time as the head teacher for the producers at the Norwegian Film School as well.
Oh.
So I got to know him there, and he's amazing. So he started in the Danish, on the Danish side, as well as Jon Hammer, who is partly based on the Faroe Islands and in Denmark as well.
Yeah, the empire is growing. I love it.
Yeah, it should.
Yeah. So you are, based in Denmark mostly, and what do you like about being a producer there? There is great government support for film, but does it also have its challenges? If the Danish Film Institute or turns you down, or DR doesn't want the TV rights, does it make it impossible to do something? And does it help being an outsider in Danish culture?
Well, I mean, I like Denmark. I like Scandinavia. I really feel at home here. Sometimes I think, okay, shall I move back to Germany? But I actually think that I have become a non-German in a way somehow. I think like the way I produce is I work with talents and directors that I fall in love with, and then I can't make a strategy about that. So that's why some of the directors I work with, they are non-Danish.
Yeah.
And that's the challenge for me, because the National Film Institute, they really want to support Danish stories, content-wise, Danish language, and Danish directors. And I work with a New Zealand director, and I work with an Afghan director. And that's a little bit of a challenge. yeah, and I sometimes I feel actually a little bit like an outsider because I'm not Danish,
Yeah.
but yeah, but I don't mind it.
Yeah. I feel the same sometimes with just being an American living in the UK. Like if I'm embarrassed about America, I just sort of say that I'm British. Or if I'm proud of America, I'm like, oh yes, I'm American, So there can be benefits to both. You have co-produced the Ruben Ostlund films like The Square and Force Majeure. On that, how did you get involved with those with Eric at Platform? And, is that more about Danish funding, or do you get a creative voice at the table? What's it like working on those?
It actually came through Philippe Bobert.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Who's at the co-production office in France, if people don't know him, and a producer and the seller of those films. Yeah.
Yeah, and he has a production company, co-production office, Denmark. And we met like many years ago. And that's how he asked me if I want to co-produce the films in co-production office Denmark. So it's about the financing and basically also organizing, well, everything that sits on the Danish side. And if there's any creative involvement, it's mostly towards Philippe Bobert rather than to Ruben. So if it's like feedback on scripts or edits, then Philippe Bobert would ask me, and I generate that.
Yeah. Did you get a vote on my beloved Clay Spang?
I hired it was me who chose the casting director. So
okay, so thank you as the Clay Spang superfan. I can thank you. Yeah. Eventually.
It was amazing the way it came to life, I think.
Yeah, love those films. Are you involved in Triangle of Sadness or not?
No, I'm not.
Okay, well, we're all looking forward to that one anyway. So with I mentioned Shahrbanoo Sadat, who's an Afghan-born filmmaker. How did you meet her and discover this amazing talent?
Yeah, I met Shah in 2012 when we got paired up at the Docs Lab, which CPH.
Oh, the CPH Docs.
Yeah.
Ah, cool.
It's like a lab where they pair up a filmmaker from Europe and a filmmaker from outside of Europe, and they have like 9 months to make a film and a very small budget. And when they paired us up, and I didn't know anything about Shah before, and when I met her in 2012, she was 22 years old. So and she just she had completely shaved her hair off in protest because in Afghanistan in Afghanistan men who can shave off the hair of their newly married if they find out on the wedding night that the woman was not a virgin anymore by the white linen. And then they can shave their hair off and can send her back. And there we instantly clicked, and I admired her so much, and I still do.
And you actually collaborated together on a film called Not at Home, or
yes,
what was that?
Yeah, because I was so scared at that time to go to Afghanistan. Later I did in 2014, but I was also scared then when I was there. But because the whole setup with the Docs Lab was like that the European filmmaker travels to the non-European filmmaker's country and they make a film there. And I was so scared to go to Afghanistan. So we kind of shared the shooting. So I did the shooting in Germany and she did the shooting in Afghanistan, and then we edited together.
Wow. And then, Wolf and Sheep was set mostly in Afghanistan. I remember talking to you and Shar about making this film, and it just blew my mind. I mean, obviously I'm doing this series because I think independent producing is sort of miraculous always, but this kind of film was like a special miracle. Can you just tell us a little bit about how you were able to shoot it?
Yeah, I mean, both Wolf and Sheep and The Orphanage had kind of the same setup. Both are set in Afghanistan and were shot in Tajikistan. And both of these films were majority produced out of Denmark with 21 financiers, low budget films, and 4 to 5 countries. And we had to make Afghanistan in Tajikistan. For Wolf and Sheep, we found a valley where we one-to-one built a village that looks like an Afghan village. And for The Orphanage, we found a real location in Tajikistan. Well, the thing is, like in Tajikistan, there is not really the film industry. So there are a lot of problems coming with shooting there. Nothing is working. Basically, breakfast not coming, cars break down, racism against Afghans, police are coming, picking up, stealing the passports of the Afghans, people throwing them out of the hotel. For Wolf and Sheep also, we filmed at a place where the water was very poisoned somehow. So just from showering, the entire film crew got really, really sick, and we had to transport them into a hospital like almost every day. It was completely crazy. And also for Wolf and Sheep, the equipment got stolen in Istanbul, and we had to start shooting 10 days later as planned. So we cut 20 pages out of the script. And on The Orphanage, the entire European crew turned against us and didn't want to work with Shah and me because we don't work traditionally, and so they kind of underestimated what we do. Plus all these small little problems that occur from in Tajikistan that they are very aware of, but that we just trying to fix all the time, that gives a little bit insecurity somehow.
I mean, it's just insane hearing about it. I mean, you can laugh about it a little bit now, but were there ever days that you thought it might fall apart, the whole film, or that you might fall apart and just say, I can't do this anymore? No?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely lots of I mean, lots of crying involved, both from my side, more from my side and from Shah's side.
Yeah.
But I think that Shah and I, we're both traumatized from, especially after The Orphanage. It was just too much to handle.
And yet, you're going again. Shah's planning another collaboration with you called Kabul Yan.
Yeah, Kabul Jan.
And this is going to be more of a romance, I think, a romantic drama.
Romantic comedy, yeah.
Comedy too. It just won a prize at Cinemart in Rotterdam. Congrats. What are the challenges going to be of this next one? Even more?
The same challenges. How we're going to finance it? I'm trying to finance it with lesser financiers than 21. So bigger amounts from financiers, and then we have the challenge to make exterior Kabul, and we don't want to shoot in Tajikistan. No. We need to shoot somewhere else. And then another challenge is to make a romantic comedy, because neither Shah nor I have ever done a romantic comedy, and we really want to do a traditional romantic comedy with a lot of playfulness, though. And and we want to hook up with collaborators that can help us make it.
Okay. Wow. Good luck. I'm sure we're going to see that film made.
Yeah, we will.
Hopefully with less than 21 partners. You never know.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some of the other directors you work with, because I know Anna Eborn is amazing. I love her work, and that's, I guess, usually really creative nonfiction. Not at all what we would think of as a traditional documentary. How did you meet Anna, and what do you enjoy about working with her?
Yeah, Anna I met in 2009, and I actually looked it up. She wrote me an email saying the Jungle Drums said I was the coolest producer in town. And she said she's working on a short film that was inspired by a recital in Werner Herzog. And then she said only even dwarfs started small. So then we met and started immediately working together. But now she lives in Stockholm. So she produces, her producer is David Herdis from Memento Film, who is my longtime friend and one of the producers I admire the most. And I co-produced then on the Danish side.
Okay, cool.
And only actually these are actually the only documentaries I produce.
Yeah, and do you want to do more, or is it just because Anna's voice is so special in documentary? Yeah.
I don't know. I wanna stick to fiction.
Yeah.
And Anna.
Yeah. And tell us about Daniel Borgman, who you've worked with on, I think, 3 features so far and 3 more coming up. How did you meet him? He's originally from New Zealand.
Yeah, we used to be a couple. I don't know if you know that.
I don't know that.
Oh. I met him in New Zealand in 2004, and he came with me to Europe. So I have known and worked with him almost half of my life. Yeah, and he is a multi-talent. He directs, he is a cinematographer, he edits, he sews clothes, makes furniture, writes, and when Peter said to me, hey, come and learn Danish and then I give you a job. And I was like, studying Danish from morning to evening, 13 hours every day. And Daniel, of course, then got a job before me as a visual effects artist and a grading technician. So that's how he started.
Okay. And you made The Weight of Elephants together, and that was one of your first features. And that was that shot in New Zealand? It's English language.
Yeah.
Is it a I've never actually seen the film. It's a family film, or it's a coming of age?
It's a coming of age drama.
Yeah.
But
not for kids.
Not for kids, yeah. But with a kid in the main role.
And what did you learn about making a film in New Zealand?
Yeah, because the project was started as a Danish project, but most of the financing came from New Zealand. That somehow I learned that created an unbalance in power, because if you creatively coming with everything from one country, but the more financing comes from a different country, then it is difficult to get things through. Stubborn as we are. And it's also, they're working really with an English system, both like administrative wise, contract wise, very heavy, long contracts. And also the whole idea that originally was that turned into bigger, because we need to have a continuity on set. We need to have a whole lighting set. So it got like very big, and this was a first feature film. So we should have made something else, kept it small, made it maybe only with financing from Denmark. That probably would have been the better solution.
Yeah.
Even though I'm proud of what we did, but it became somehow too big, I think.
Yeah. Very different kind of film, but Team Hurricane was another interesting film that you produced. This was made all in Denmark. Did it come out of New Danish Screen or even Skitsen, or?
No, it's the Danish Film Institute at that time had a low budget scheme.
Yeah.
And I met Annika while she was still at film school, in her last semester at film school. And then we started developing, and we wanted to, as soon as she comes out of first film school, apply for this low budget scheme with a budget of 3 million kroners. So what is that, 400,000 euros? And Annika is and Team Hurricane is developed in the same way as she usually works. She doesn't write scripts. So she, a lot of times she writes just scenes where she has pictures or YouTube clips she gets inspired with. So you go from scene to scene and you see the action explained and what it is inspired with, like the beginning of Europe, or like stuff like this. And then you have to watch a YouTube clip. So we applied to the Danish Film Institute, and we actually made a homepage because there were a lot of GIFs involved in the script.
Yeah.
So the commissioning editor could, open the web page. It was a closed web page. Not everyone was able to see it. So the commissioning editor could like log in and then see the script with all YouTube clips and pictures and GIFs like playing and reading through, and at the same time could click onto who could be the cast, what are the options, what are the backstories to the cast. And the cast had maybe made self-tapes in the casting, because all these protagonists, they're non-actors that we casted from the area of Copenhagen. And they came with self-tapes, and we also had a workshop where they could make like video diaries. Everything was on the webpage, and was and commissioning editors as well as crew could look into this whole universe.
Oh, and I mean, was it as crazy as it sounds working with all those teenage girls? Was it exciting? Was it inspiring? Was it, I mean, it's a very different way to work.
It is, because we didn't have a proper production plan, and the production plan had to be like changed every day for the next day, because then we couldn't make this scene because it didn't kind of fit anyhow, or the teenagers didn't feel like it, or Annika was like, not in the mood right now to make the scene, we need to swap it for the next day. It was actually very inspiring, I think, because everything that is non-traditional, I think, is inspiring, and also working with real people in a fictional sense is, I think, really inspiring, because it's so honest, and so immediate, and also, if you have to stay so open and flexible, then gold can come out of that.
So how do you sort of look for that gold now? We were talking before the interview just about some of your upcoming projects, and you were saying you want to, not necessarily make them more commercial, but just make them, appeal to a wide audience, or a wider audience than some of the very artistic, festival only films. So how do you balance the creative and the inspiring with, finding audiences for some of the things ahead?
Yeah, I think like, well, at the moment I'm developing 8 feature films, and that's a lot.
Yes.
I don't know. What I feel like, I did a lot of festival films for the last 8 years. Since 2013, I think I co-produced 20 films. And I felt like, because I'm not in touch with the festival audience, I'm at the world premiere, but then the director is traveling around from festival to festival. And it felt like to learn also something different, I want to try to make other kinds of films, go away from the art house side, and really dig into art house crossover, make something entertaining, make something light, makes, I think this is what I want to do and what the world needs. um, and I think that making these kind of films, just in the process of making these films, I become happy,
Yeah.
or like because it's just not so heavy. Yeah, and also, I mean, of course, there's also the economy side of it, because uh, for the past 8 years, I really, risk stuff, because I invest a lot into films that are not going to make a lot of revenues.
Yeah.
So
No.
I don't know if I have answered you.
That's a very honest answer, but I also think, I don't think we have to worry that you're going to start making a lot of like dumb Scandi noir. Not that Scandi noir is dumb, but I'm sure you could make some cheap, quick commercial films, and that's not what you're going to do either. Can you tell us anything that is coming up, even without titles or anything, just the kinds of things you're excited to work on?
Well, there's the one we talked about is the romantic comedy. With Shah. Another project I have with her is an animation film. So also for a big family audience. Also because I'm developing with Daniel Borgman one female superhero film. And I'm working with him on a mystery crime thriller. Yeah, and then I'm working on a neo-Western in Greenland, set in Greenland.
Ooh, yeah.
With Ilum Jacobi, who I have produced his first feature, The Trouble of Nature, that premiered in Rotterdam last year. And then I'm doing a road movie in the US with Kasper Astrup Schröder, who's a Danish director who did a lot of documentaries, his first fiction feature film. Yeah, so I'm excited about all of these projects.
They all sound very interesting. Yeah. And I think they'll still all have their challenges and their artistic sides. But hopefully the US road trip is easier than Tajikistan. We'll see.
Yeah, but then again, how to finance from Denmark.
Yeah. True. Everyone's got its own challenge. There's some questions I like to ask everybody.
Yeah.
And one is, how do you balance the really creative side of producing with the financial side, the financing, the business, the juggling 22 financiers, the contracts, all that? I mean, do you enjoy both parts?
Yeah, I think like the most important as a producer is probably figuring out like what are you good at, or what am I good at, and what am I not good at. And I think I still trying to figure it out and also stick to it. That's I really like to develop projects creatively, and I also really love financing. But there are a lot of things that I'm really, I don't like and I'm not good at. So someone else needs to take needs to do that, and that is a struggle, because first of all you need to have the economy. Well, I need to have the economy to employ people who take care of that. So it is. I think it is a struggle to because there are so many parts. I mean, if it's creative developing the project, financing the project, the whole production part, crew, casting, post-production, marketing, PR, festivals, VOD. I mean, it's just to be in control of all these elements when you're only one person. It's a lot.
Yeah. That's why partially why I'm doing this series of talks, because I think people don't understand that all of this falls to the producer. And yeah, sometimes there is not money to hire a publicist, or if it's a very tiny film, or to wrangle the poster, or to do this festival strategy. I mean, what do you think that people misunderstand about what a producer actually does?
I think like a lot of people think that they are some sort of production person on set, and even crew. A lot of people think, where's the producer? Why is the producer not on set? What is the producer doing? Then they immediately think negatively of the producer because the producer is not on set.
That minute, yeah.
There's somehow not the understanding of the range of things that a producer need to do.
Yeah, sometimes you would much rather be on set than in an office dealing with 22 lawyers on a Skype call.
Well, I don't like to be on set, but
Ah, yeah. You mentioned at the beginning you don't really like sets.
no, because if I'm on set, then I'm getting really sweaty hands about things that might not work out, and then I confuse the director because, have you thought about this? And have you on what I made? And then I'm just causing trouble more
But
than.
do you try, if possible, not to be on the set?
Yeah, I can be in the office, close to the set, so the director can also come in and say, "Hey, listen, this just happened on set. What shall I do?" Or, well, I am at the same time doing the office stuff, but like being directly on set.
Just sitting in Video Village, that's not you. No. Oh, that's funny. Can you think of your best day on set?
Yeah, I think the best days on set were definitely on Loving Pia, because it was like very intimate, and we were a small crew, and it was like just very creative and honest and caring and just fun. I think I said before, like real people in a fictional setting, they enrich the whole process, and also the working with them and enrich the project in itself.
Yeah. No, I was thinking about Pia when you were talking about Team Hurricane. What about your pet peeves on set? Like something that people do or crew do or visitors do that annoys you?
Well, it's mostly crew. I'm thinking about. I mean, like for example, hierarchical structure. I'm not a big fan of, and also like lazy behavior, like in the sense of people just sitting in front of the monitor, and even when they don't have anything to do in their own department, that they not trying to help other departments, stuff like that, or then undermining or criticizing producers directors decision is not so good, and also like underestimating producer and director for the way they work.
Yeah.
If they may be doing things differently or trying to do things differently, different process in order to reach a different result.
Yeah, or just to make it happen. Like if you're, like you were saying, if you're in Tajikistan, you might have to work in a different way than you do in a cozy studio in Copenhagen or something.
Yeah, I mean, I heard comments like go back to film school, or like there's a reason why films have been made like this for 100 years. Yeah.
I wouldn't handle that so well. Can you think of a professional mistake you've made that you've learned from?
Yeah, I can see that you have sent this question. Is the only question I actually have not written anything about. And I think it was because there are so many mistakes, and it was difficult for me to pinpoint um, one mistake, because I think like under each project I'm doing so many mistakes for each project, so I could go back to each project I produced and say, okay, there I did this and this and this and this that wasn't good, and then yeah.
And I didn't tell you I wanted to ask you this, but we didn't really talk about Super 16 as a film school. And, you know, that little trigger of somebody saying, go back to film school. What is Super 16 like? Because it's the alternative to the Danish National Film School. You know, did you enjoy your time there? Did you think it was a good fit for you?
I'm not sure if it was a good fit for me, but I'm not sure if any film school would have been such a fit for me, because I feel like I was already, you know, when I started film school, the first year we had the film winning in the short film winning in Critics Week.
Yeah.
And then we already developed the feature film. So the other students probably would have thought we are not really committed, because we had so much going on. Outside the film school.
Yeah.
But also, I think like now teaching at the Norwegian Film School as well, I think even if I gotten into the Danish Film School, which I applied for but didn't come in, and the whole, you know, discussing everything, never coming to a point. Also, what I told you before, that I really like to have the responsibility on my own and make decisions on my own. That everything needs to be discussed and never coming to a conclusion, or a conclusion takes so long time. It's really exhausting for me.
Yeah. I think film school isn't for everybody, and I don't think we should have to say it is. I mean, I think a lot of people get something out of many different kinds of film schools, but what is there a piece of advice you give to the producing students in Norway? I'm sure it's like lessons after lessons after lessons.
In terms of like what I just said, in terms of discussing stuff?
No, just in terms of producing and being a producer. Can you give them some practical advice too?
I guess like never giving up, and always, you know, digging in, trying on your own until there is a solution found. Yeah.
I think that's some perfect advice, especially from you, who just makes it happen. I've always been inspired by the way you produce.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for talking about your career with us today.
Thank you for thinking about me.
Yes, and good luck with the 8 films coming up. We can't wait to see them. And yes, can't wait to see the next challenges and adventures. Thank you.
Thank you, Wendy. Bye.